friends, welcome back. So today is March 31st, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my March reading wrap up. I know that I'm not gonna read anything else today to finish up the month, so I'm gonna go ahead and film this so that I can then film my April TBR. So I have my reading planner, I have some coffee, so let's sit down and talk about March. Okay, so I think I ended up with a total of 10 books this month. Read, let's see, 1, 2, 9 books. So I ended up reading a total of 9 books this month, but I did end up DNFing a few. So we're gonna go through all of these. So first of all, I went through and I looked back at my March TBR to see what books I had pulled from my crate jar, and the reason why I didn't remember is because I did not read any of them, unfortunately. So those 3 books were The Cousins, Strange the Dreamer, and 10,000 Doors of January. Unfortunately, I didn't get to any of those 3, so the slips have gone back into the little jar, and I'll be picking new ones for this month. Hopefully I'll get to those, or for April, I mean. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about March. So the first book that I did finish this month was The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. I read that for a separate vlog. That was my like backlist authors vlog. That has already been posted. That video's up, so I'll tag it up above. I ended up giving this 3 stars, I believe. I don't remember if it's 3 or 4. I listened to the audiobook. I really liked it. It was a good, like, not really a reintroduction, but kind of a reminder of where things left off, what was going on with Oak, and just how things had progressed, like, in that world. So I did really like it. It ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger, so I'm sure there's going to be another one. I think this might be a duology. So yeah, I liked it. I did find that you do definitely have to have read the ᴛᴏᴏᴅᴅ series in its entirety in order to really understand what's happening in The Stolen Heir. So there were a lot of things I didn't really remember because I read that series quite a while ago. So I definitely need to go back and reread that. But yeah, if you haven't read The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, I think it is, and Queen of Nothing, I think, I definitely recommend reading those first before you get to The Stolen Heir, because I think you're definitely going to understand things much better having that knowledge prior. So then the second book I read was It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I also did a separate reading vlog for this. I'll tag that also. This book is really controversial. People either love it or absolutely hate it. There's a lot of like vitriol in the book community about this book. Not gonna lie, I loved it. I really, really liked it. I'm not sure what all of the like animosity towards this book is. Yes, it deals with hard topics, difficult subject. It's definitely a hard book to get through. It was definitely a little triggering for me, but I loved it. I think it was really well written. It was about, yes, it was about domestic violence and all the things that come with that, but it was also about breaking the cycle. And just, it was very like realistic, I think, and just relatable, and I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. So yeah, like I said, I have a separate reading vlog for that. Then the first book that I ended up DNFing was Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. This was for that same backlist authors vlog, and I ended up DNFing it. The only other series I read, that's not true. I read Beartown. I started the second book and never finished it, and then obviously never read the 3rd book. So I really need to get to those, reread Beartown, and then finish that series. I also read, I think it's like My Grandmother Said to Tell You She's Sorry, I believe is what it's called, by Frederick Bachman. I read that as well. I was looking forward to this one. I do like Frederick Bachman's writing, but this was just like all over the place and jumped around a lot and didn't have like one central kind of storyline, I felt like. It just kept going off in these random tangents, and I just didn't like it. I couldn't get into it. So I ended up DNFing it. I'm actually going to end up putting this on, or I may have already, putting this on Pango Books. That is always linked down below. So yeah, this was unfortunately a DNF for me. Then I read a couple of Kindle Unlimited smutty romances, typical like 100, 200 page Kindle, just fully smut book. Just kind of went down the rabbit hole a little bit. So I read Shared by Orcs by Zara Jordan. read the ebook of that on Kindle, and then the other one was the Eldritch Possession, also by Zara Jordan. Typical, like I said, Kindle Unlimited romance, smutty, like quick read. So both of those I read. I finally finished Inheritance by Christopher Paolini. I had been reading that one for a while because it's quite long. I love that series. That book, it just kind of cemented my love for the series. I love it every time I read it. And I will definitely do a reread again in a couple years probably. Then the next book I read was Saint by Adrienne Young. This is like the prequel to Fable and Namesake. I really enjoyed this. I gave it, it wasn't like amazing. I think Fable and Namesake are definitely better. But I gave it 3 stars. It was fun to be back in the world, to come back to a lot of the same characters. Again, I kind of had the same problem that I did with Stolen Heir. There were some side characters and like a villain of the story that I knew he was in Fable, and I just couldn't remember like exactly what part he played in that story. And so it made it a little bit confusing to try to remember who was who. So I definitely suggest, if you haven't read Fable and Namesake, to read those first and then like immediately go into Saint, so that you'll have a good like recollection of everything that happened and who everybody is. Then the most surprising book of the month for me was a Kindle Unlimited romance. A girl, an account that I follow on Instagram, was talking about this book, posted a quote of it from it, and it just sounded interesting, so I looked it up. And it's like dark academia. It's set in a school like perched like on a hilltop that's very remote and nobody can get to. There's like magic, and it's like dark academia kind of meets cottagecore a little bit. Like it's very like woodsy, and like a lot of it has to do with like reading tarot and crystals and that kind of stuff. And so I don't know, I went in expecting it to be a normal Kindle Unlimited, romance. I actually ended up really liking this. I don't even know if I even said the name, but I'm gonna put the cover up here. It's called Gothicana by Runix, I think is the name of the author. This really surprised me. I actually ended up really, really liking it. This is what I wanted when I read Catherine House. I think I read Catherine House the end of last year sometime. I ended up not liking it. It says it was supposed to be dark academia. I didn't really get dark academia from it. I seem to be always disappointed by like books that are touted as being dark academia. I feel like they never really are. Like just because this book is set in a school doesn't necessarily make it dark academia. This was definitely that, and it had like witchy vibes. Definitely is a romance. There's smut. There was a twist that I didn't see coming for what it is, for like a quick, like I said, contemporary romance on Kindle Limited. Like it really surprised me. I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars, or 4 stars actually. I forget why I took away the 1 star, why I didn't give it a full 5 stars. Because it was pretty insta-lovey. That's the one thing. The main character and the male counterpart meet and are basically like immediately in love with each other. So that's what took away the 1 star for me. But really, this is more about like the environment, the school itself, like the grounds, the mystery of it. It was really good. I highly recommend this one. Then I did talk about this book in my March TBR. This is The Lost Girls of Willowbrook. I ended up DNFing it. It just wasn't really going anywhere. It was repetitive. The main character, I forget her name now, who was taken into the sanatorium because everybody thought she was her sister. Like it was the same day. Like she was doing the same thing every single day, and like I get she was in a sanatorium, but it just never went anywhere. Like the plot never moved forward, and I got like 40% in, so I just DNF'd it. The next book, I hesitated to put this on here in this way because I might eventually pick it up again. This is Anastasia by Sophie Lark. I liked this book. I love books that have to do with Anastasia. I really enjoy Sophie Lark's writing. This was just so long. Like it just never it was never ending. Like, I feel like there were some things that could have been cut out. It started off really strong. The prologue like immediately grabs you in. It has like a mystery and like you're wanting to know like, okay, what's gonna happen next, or where's this gonna lead? And then it goes into Anastasia's life and her story, which is interesting, but it just drags on and on and on. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I had been reading it for like, it came out in January, I believe, and it's almost April and I was still reading it. So I let that one go. I don't think that's a hard DNF. I'll probably eventually pick it up and try it again. I think I'm going to try to get it a physical copy, and maybe that'll be better. I was trying to do it through through ebook, and I think that wasn't working for me as well. So the next thing I ended up DNFing was Wild or Wicked. I don't remember if it's Wicked and Wild Things or Wild and Wicked Things. Put the cover up here. I think I talked about this one in one of my TBRs. It was the same thing. It was just kind of slow going. I like books that are more like to the point. The plot are very like plot driven and move pretty quickly. And this was not that. I just couldn't bring myself to pick it up, and so I DNF'd it. Then the next physical book that I finished was the Atlas 6. I did actually end up doing a separate vlog for this, so my thoughts will be over there. I ended up giving this 3 stars. It was okay. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I wanted more from it. I thought it was gonna be more about like the Library of Alexandria itself. And some of the characters were really just unlikable. And yeah, it was good, but it wasn't like as great as I thought it was gonna be. So the last book is gonna be Spare by Prince Harry. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 5 stars. I listened to the audiobook, so it was really it just added to like added to the story to hear it from himself, to hear him telling the story. It was like he was telling you, you know, you were just having a conversation with him and he was telling you about his life. So that really added to it. It was really sad to hear everything that he's gone through since he was 12 when Princess Diana died, and just like the way his family has kind of ostracized him his whole life and treated him like he didn't really matter because he was the spare. The like roller coaster ride of a relationship that he's had with both his dad and his brother, and the way they've both kind of used him to further themselves, and just the way he's been treated by his whole family, and then everything that happened with Meghan Markle and all that. So it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna go watch the Netflix documentary that came out this year, I think sometime this year or maybe late last year, on I think I said on Netflix about them. I haven't watched it yet, so now that I've listened to his whole story and I'm more familiar with everything, I want to go watch that and see like the documentary style show. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I gave it 5 stars. I think that, Spare, and Coffee Canna were the 2 best books of the month for sure. So yeah, that is everything that I read this month. Like I said, I didn't get to any of the 3 physical books that I pulled in my TBR last month, but in my April TBR video I'll be pulling 3 more. Hopefully I'll get to those. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Like I said, I did read 9 books this month, DNF'd 3, so a pretty good reading month. Not my best, but pretty good. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. If you like this video, please give it a like, comment down below, let me know if you have read any of these, and I'll see you then.